All right. It's Wednesday, everyone. Just Mike tonight. We are couldn't get it together with Tommy and Kyle. They're gonna rejoin next week, and that's all right. That's gonna happen from time to time. We can we can deal with it. Well, let's jump in. So the first thing I was gonna update everybody on, and what I wanted to talk about was, as predicted, Kevin Hart and the two other people involved in that accident in his Speed Core 1970 Plymouth Barracuda, everybody's lawyering up. So the thought is that his friend and his friend's fiance are suing Kevin Hart. Their reasoning with their attorneys are that it didn't have the safety equipment it should have, and because he never asked for it, knowing how fast the car was, it was negligent on his part. You know, I said from the get-go, like, the friend who drove this, and it's still unclear if Kevin was in the front seat or in the back, and then it's also unclear if there actually was a back seat. So there's multiple things going on here, but this friend is not a friend at all. I mean, this guy's a douchebag. So here's the thing. I've driven Tommy's 69 Mach 1 multiple times. He's driven my cars. Neither of us has even come close to doing this. I mean, I had a 2014 Challenger SRT8, which only has, I think mine had about 585 horsepower. It was a 6-speed manual. And Tommy, I believe, drove that as well. I had let other people drive it. No one wrecked it, is what I'm getting at. No one even came close. So I don't understand how, given this kind of car, and if you've seen pictures of the car, it is absolutely gorgeous before they wrecked it. And it's got the Hellcat drivetrain, so it's over 700 horsepower. Doesn't look like it had a roll cage, which is whatever. A lot of powerful vehicles don't. They're saying that it didn't have 5-point harness, that it only had lap belts. Well, that's kind of dumb, but also not unexpected. I mean, my 72 Cutlass is decently powerful. Nothing on that level, but it's decently powerful, and it only has lap belts. So, would I expect to be sued by anyone sitting in my car? Well, no, because legally I don't have to have them. And so the fact that they're saying not requesting those features constitutes negligence, well, these guys are assholes. I mean, you gotta be, to come after someone, especially after you wrecked the car. You know what I mean? I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Liar Liar with Jim Carrey, but you remember the analogy they gave in that movie about lawyers suck because even a burglar could enter a home, and if they hurt themselves in the home while they're trying to rob somebody, that they could sue the homeowner and win and win money. And I think it was his secretary that was like, my friend had to pay $5,000 to this burglar who hurt himself in her home, and Jim Carrey, because he couldn't tell a lie, was like, oh, I would have got him 10. I mean, the fact that that's even possible is insane. Absolutely insane. And if this lawsuit against Kevin Hart goes forward by the guy who wrecked his car, now look, the biggest safety feature in any car, and I don't care if you've got a Prius on up to a Koenigsegg, is your right foot. It's as safe or as dangerous as your right foot in any car. I don't care what you're driving. So, for one, this guy's an asshole for wrecking that Barracuda because he was going really fast and lost control on Mulholland Drive. Maybe they were out goofing around. You can have fun without spinning off a highway and nearly killing everyone. So, ridiculous. But, this is the world we live in, I guess. And then, of course, California now is talking about requiring these modern safety features in custom muscle cars. The whole thing is utterly ridiculous. That's the stupidest thing they could do, which of course means they will, because California is stupid. But again, I can't fathom that this guy is any kind of real friend to Kevin Hart. I get it. He's upset he got hurt. But the reality is he's the one driving and he's the one who wrecked the car. If anyone should be pissed at anybody, everyone should be mad at the driver. It's, they weren't hit by someone else. He wrecked the car. I don't get it, guys. I don't understand this one at all. I don't know how that's defensible. I don't know how a judge would even consider it. The whole thing is pretty stupid. Kevin, of course, is lawyered up. They're wondering, though, if Kevin is going to sue SpeedCore for not including these features, even though he didn't ask for them. I mean, this is just utterly ridiculous, and it sets a pretty ugly precedent for any car builder anywhere in the country. So everybody better lose on this one, because this is going to screw a lot of businesses and a lot of people, and it's going to change the industry for the worse. Okay? It's just, yeah. This is really bad. But also, sadly, this is not surprising, but Kevin, you need to get some new friends, bud. This guy's a loser. His fiance's a loser. There's just, there's no way around it. Garbage. Utter garbage. But, so that's my update on that. Bit of a downer, but, he's rich, and rich people do walk around with a bit of a target on their back. But pick your friends better. Enough of that. So the other thing I was going to bring up was my Detroit Lions, who I picked to lose, actually won. They remain undefeated, even though that includes a tie, which to me feels like a loss. But they're undefeated, officially. They're in second place in the NFC North. They're a half a game ahead of Chicago and Minnesota, and a half a game behind Green Bay, who is 3-0. Although Green Bay is playing tomorrow night. They are playing the Eagles, and the Eagles are kind of banged up, and the Lions did just beat them, so we'll see what happens. But not a gimme. Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked all that great so far, but he's been playing against some great defenses, so we'll see what happens. They won 27-24. Stafford played again. It was probably his worst game so far this year. However, the offensive line is playing better. The running game is still not really doesn't really exist. But they let their kick returner back after benching him last week, and he returned a kickoff for a touchdown. And then I think he gained 26 yards on another punt. So he redeemed himself, and he's back in everybody's good graces. Marvin Jones Jr. had 6 catches for 116 yards, including a touchdown, which was huge. It was scary. The Eagles receivers dropped, I think, 7 passes throughout the game, which helped the Lions win. There was a no call on a Lions player when he almost decapitated one of the Eagles return men. So all of these things kind of came together, but then the defense stood up real well in the fourth quarter and stopped the Eagles, and Detroit hung on for a win. So I'm impressed. Tommy told me to keep picking them to lose, because that seems to be working for the superstitious fans out there. We were joking because Tommy said that the Lions are unbeatable. He was joking, of course, and I said, well, maybe not unbeatable, because they are tieable. The Falcons, or not the Falcons, the Cardinals do not look very good, and they were able to get a tie out of Detroit that first week. But just all around the league so far, it seems like there aren't many teams hitting on all cylinders. Which brings us to Sunday, when the Lions play the Chiefs, who are one of just 2-3 teams that are hitting on all cylinders. The Chiefs are also undefeated and a very hungry team. They lost to the Patriots. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder. They are very good, and I'm going to say it again. I'm expecting a Lions loss on Sunday. Hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I think this is it. That doesn't mean that I think that the season's going to go down the tubes from here. The Lions are better than I thought they were. They're scrappier. The defense is good. They're giving up yards, but they're not giving up too many points, and the offense is putting points on the board. So, they're getting outgained, I think, on average in each game, but they are outscoring their opponents. So, in the end, that's what really matters. So, the bend don't break thing, I guess, we'll see. But I wouldn't expect a win on Sunday. I think realistically, you got to think the Chiefs got that one. But yeah, that's why they play football, though, right? Any given Sunday. So that was the bright spot. And now let's talk about Michigan. U of M took on Wisconsin. U of M came in ranked 11th. I believe Wisconsin was 18th. And I lost interest when Wisconsin was up 28-0 at halftime. They abused Michigan the way Ohio State abused them last year. I don't know what to say about this team. We've been talking about it each week that they played. They had a top 10 recruiting class. They have had great recruiting classes since Harbaugh's been there. And again, similar to the Detroit, I'm not saying that Michigan's like falling apart and they're going to lose the rest of that's not likely to happen. However, maybe even unlike Detroit, Michigan is expected to be a competitive team, and they haven't been for a long time. But in their history, they were always at least competitive for a Rose Bowl berth or something. And it just hasn't materialized at all. This team is not good. Not good at all. I mean, their offensive line is not good. They're getting beat up. The quarterbacks are running for their lives. I don't know. I think unless something big changes, when they face a good team this year, they're going down. That's what I see. And that sucks. Harbaugh makes a lot of money, and there was people who expected Michigan to take a step forward or thought they might take a step forward this year. And there was talk of Harbaugh getting a lifetime contract. And this is a guy, I think they were talking about giving him $9 million a year. I think he gets $7 million now or something like that. Crazy. But we go from that kind of discussion to he might get fired. Like, some people think if the season starts to tank, like, he isn't going to finish out the season as Michigan's head coach. That sucks. And again, it's a lot of turnovers. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So, it's not what you expect from Michigan football, even if that's been kind of the way lately. Harbaugh's been kind of up and down. He's had a couple good seasons, but he's 0-4 against Ohio State, and as any Michigan fan knows, that's no good. Michigan fans, that's a team we want to see lose anytime we can. But Yeah, it's it was ugly. Ended up 35-14. No relief in sight. They've got some really good teams in the Big Ten that they're going to have to play, and they did drop in ranked to 20th, and I think Wisconsin went up to 11th or something like that. So, not great. It doesn't look like it's going to get any better, because there's just nothing there. They're not. There's no spark in the passing game. There's no spark in the running game. The defense seems overwhelmed by everybody. Wisconsin kind of did whatever they wanted. Army ran over them. It's just, this is bad. This is really bad. But it's hard to watch. Well, I will probably continue to root for them. We'll see what happens with the rest of the season. Michigan State is probably pretty excited for that meeting coming up, though. That's what I think. But enough football. In a brilliant move, and I know I don't offer GM too many kudos lately, but I'm going to offer them now. They've partnered up with Hendrick Motorsports, and they're going to be offering Hertz Rent-A-Racers in 2020 Chevy Camaros, though one will have 480 horsepower, or you can opt for the ZL1 Callaway Supercharged 750 horsepower Camaro. And they have a black and yellow paint scheme, very similar to the Mustang versions. This is really cool. They're going to only be available in probably major markets, which makes sense. They're going to have 224 of them, so it's not going to be even just a couple. Apparently it's 15 cities, and it starts in October. This is a good move, and the Camaro itself, in black especially, that's the best I've seen that look. It ain't bad. I recommend checking it out. Car and Driver has a nice article on it. It's pretty cool. So I have a question or a challenge or however you want to look at it. If you're in one of these markets and you got a buddy that's into cars too, one of you go get a Hertz Mustang, the other one get the Hertz Camaro, and lay it down on the street. Let's see what these things can do. I'd love to see that. I think everyone would love to see that. That would be really cool. Really cool. So, yeah. Hertz is continuing its long tradition of having these sort of vehicles available. It looks like it's Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Houston, Nashville, Fort Lauderdale, Fort Myers, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Los Angeles, and San Diego. It sounds like it's only going to be for a little while, and it starts in October. But the Shelby Mustang GTS, the other Hertz Rent-A-Racer, is 600 horsepower. So it kind of falls in between the two. So, it says the 480 horsepower SS will start at $99 per day, which ain't bad. And then the 750, the big dog, is $299 a day. That's a lot. But it's a hell of a lot cheaper than buying one. And if you just want to scratch an itch and see what they're like, this is a great way to do it. So if I lived in one of these big cities or near them, I'd go give it a try. I think that'd be a great time. So kudos to GM. You haven't done a lot right lately in my mind. But this is pretty darn good. That's a good one. So next up I got for you, and I just thought this was hilarious, so I wanted to bring it up, and it's too bad the guys aren't on with me because I was dying to hear what they thought of this. I did talk to Tommy about it a little bit Sunday. He and I watched the game together. Dennis Rodman is back in the news. He's claiming that Madonna offered him $20 million if he could get her pregnant. Now, that's a crazy thing to hear, but Madonna is a pretty crazy woman, and Dennis Rodman is definitely a pretty crazy dude. So, if that's not wild enough, this is one of the stories he gave while he's apparently trying to get Madonna pregnant. He's in Las Vegas. He was rolling dice and high stakes room, going to town. He gets a call on his cell, and Madonna's on the line, and she says, "Dennis, I'm ovulating." He says, "What? You're ovulating? What is that?" He admits he knew what that meant, but he was rolling dice. So she says, ovulating. And he's like, "Okay, great. I'll be there in 5 hours." So I put the dice down. This is his words. And said, "Hold the table." Madonna sent a private plane for me, a G5. I went to the airport, flew to New York, went to her house, did my thing, got back on the plane, flew back to Vegas, went back to my held table, and started throwing dice again like I never left. He claims, true story. Now, apparently he never collected on that 20 mil. He never got her pregnant. So, don't know. That's an interesting thing and a weird claim. But Rodman's a controversial dude, and it was even pressed to him. Does he think that Madonna made him a superstar? Now, keep in mind, this guy was one of the best players in NBA history. He is. He is one of the best players in NBA history. With the Pistons, with the Bulls. I mean, he's a hell of a ball player. Anyways, so they asked him if they think that him dating her, made him a superstar. So his claim is no. In fact, it's the other way around. He believes that her career was declining at that time, and she dated him because he was the bad boy. He was in the news already all the time. So he believes he was going up. She was leveling off. And so one of the reasons she dated him was to bring her star up. I don't know. Madonna is pretty popular worldwide and was still going pretty strong in the early 90s. Madonna, much like Cher had done, at least in my opinion, she hung around and had hits here or there right into the 2000s. So I don't know if that's true, but I'm trying to think. In 1993, was he playing for the Bulls then? I don't know, but Dennis is a crazy guy. That's a crazy story. $20 million to knock up Madonna is a lot of money, and even weirder that he apparently couldn't pull it off. So never collected on that. I don't know. That's wild. I thought it was hilarious, and that's the reason why we shared that one. Back to car stuff. Tesla is apparently wanting to compete with Porsche's Taycan. I don't know if I'm saying that right. That's what it's spelled. The Taycan went to the Nürburgring in Nordschleife and ran a 7:42, which is really fast. So Tesla took two Model S's there. They had fender flares. They had really aggressive tires. They had big rear spoilers. They were not stock. Okay, so they went there with a couple of ringers to smoke Porsche's time and then rub it in their face. Which Elon Musk is kind of an eccentric dude, and I could see him ordering something like that. So in the end, one of the cars broke down. The other one wasn't that fast. And somehow one of the people with Tesla claims they have a hand-timed lap of 7:23, which is like 20 seconds quicker than Porsche's time. This wasn't reported. It wasn't given to the ring, so it's not established, but they're claiming that was there. And then other people said it was a... and I hate it when people do this. So what they do is they run the track many times, and they calculate their theoretical best lap by taking the best speeds in and out of every corner. And they calculate their best possible time based on that, and that's the time they go with when they're reporting these things. I don't like that. Run what you brung. Get an official time slip. Turn it in. Otherwise, keep your mouth shut. It didn't work out. In my opinion, they have no time on the Nürburgring. At least no official time. So, sorry, Elon. You're going to have to come back with something else. Unfortunately, I think the Tesla... this is not unfortunate, but the Tesla is really meant to be a luxury sedan that happens to be incredibly fast and incredibly smart. But it is not a sports car, not really. It just has very, very good capability. The Porsche Taycan is a sports car. Okay, this was developed by Porsche. Just look at it. It's meant to chew up tracks. It's meant to be a really, really fast car, and it is. So, if you want to doll up a Tesla, the P100D Plus or whatever it was that they were running with, and call it a sports car, go ahead. It isn't. And again, it kind of proved that with what happened at the Nürburgring. So even though they're claiming a super fast time, they didn't have an official one. You can bet if they ran it, if they had proof of it, it would have been everywhere. They didn't. It's not. We can all move on. A little bit of a black eye for Tesla, but again, not really, because that's not the intent of that car. And the fact that it ran at the Nürburgring at all, and it did put up a seemingly a pretty quick time, even if it was slower than the Taycan, is cool. I mean, I don't know. Just driving on the Nürburgring would be pretty cool to me, but Elon's he's an interesting guy. Well, that one didn't work out for him. But again, he probably shouldn't have took that on. And some more, not that I want to keep dumping on California, but, well, they just keep serving this stuff up, so what are you going to do? Kanye West, who's a weird guy himself, Kanye West wanted to start tackling the homeless situation in Los Angeles. And I'll talk a little bit more about it, but Kanye, and this is funny, so he owns this huge property in Calabasas, California. So he constructed 4 dome-shaped, Star Wars-inspired homes on his property. And they were prototypes. No one was living in them, but they were prototypes to see if he could build this inexpensive dome housing to get the homeless off the streets. And I don't know what his implementation strategy was. I don't know if he had one. I mean, it's just a concept, right? And he was checking it out. Well, the Los Angeles County inspector said that the structures looked permanent. He didn't believe they were prototypes, and he said, you need to apply for these other permits or tear the homes down. Well, Kanye got pissed and tore them all down, and now he's not doing it. So here's the funny part of that, sad part of it maybe. So California does have this massive homeless problem. They've got these trackers now so you can report human feces in the street and on the sidewalks, because apparently these homeless folks are just going to the bathroom wherever they please. They'll drop trowel right in the middle of the road or right on a sidewalk and just go and keep moving. Yes, there's drugs involved. Yes, it's a huge problem. And sadly, Kanye's just weird enough of a very wealthy person that, he might have been the one to offer up a solution. Because here's the thing. California doesn't have a lot of money. People think they do. They really don't. They're very overextended. And they're never going to be able to tackle a problem like this without someone like that putting up a bunch of their own money and coming in and trying to help them. But it's getting so bad there. There's like medieval diseases that no one considered a threat anymore are now back. They have confirmed cases of leprosy in California now with these homeless people. I mean, some business owners, because they've been so negatively affected by the fact that they're there and they're just living on the streets and living on the beach, and they've started like deconstructing the sidewalks outside of their facilities so that the homeless people can't put up their little structures there. This is going to come to a head. You know, this problem's not going away. It's really sad. But, you know, you have someone like Kanye step in and try to do something positive, and they shoot themselves in the foot by not working with him and tearing, you know, basically getting him to tear it all down, you know. And, you know, he purchased a $14 million ranch in Wyoming, and they've been spending a lot of time there. I think he's kind of over it for now. Dumb, you know, just dumb. Too bad. Back to car stuff. The Lincoln Aviator Grand Touring Edition just got a new commercial with Matthew McConaughey. It is a 494 horsepower plug-in hybrid version mid-size crossover. It starts at just under $70,000. So he's got this awesome commercial, and you can look it up on YouTube, where it's him driving again, waxing poetic. But in the back, he's driving through all this purple smoke, and Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix is playing on his radio. It's awesome. And he claims it just leaves you feeling better. But if you haven't checked it out, it is awesome. McConaughey's rolling commercials he's got, you know, the SNL's made fun of him. Jim Carrey's made fun of him. They are awesome. It is definitely worth a look. It's just as ridiculous as the other ones he's done, but in a good way. It's a good ridiculous. But you've gotta check it out. McConaughey delivered another good one. So Road and Track is doing their 2020 Performance Car of the Year. They've got a Toyota Supra, the Lexus RCF Track Pack, the Lotus Evora GT, the McLaren 600 LT Spider, the Lamborghini Huracan Evo, the BMW M2 Competition, the Mazda MX-5 Miata Club, the Hyundai Veloster N, and the new Corvette, and Porsche 911 Carrera S, the Nissan GTR Nismo, and that's it. So, obviously, I'm pulling for that mid-engine Vet. They're already claiming, yes, it's the most anticipated car to debut in 2019. Everybody's been looking forward to this one for decades. GM has teased a mid-engine Vet since the 60s. So it's a big deal. And, again, it's a 494 horsepower V8 with a dual clutch automatic. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good, and it's such a big departure from where they've been. I'm anticipating that it's either going to win or it's going to place really, really high, because the rest of the cars in this list, there's nothing new. It's all souped up versions of a car that they offered last year. So it's a new model or a new trim level within a model. I don't know how they look at that, but that's essentially what's going on there. So I'm pulling for the Vet. GM, they did their Hertz Camaros. Now they've got the Corvette in the Performance Car of the Year. Yeah, I'm cheering for GM right now. This is awesome. So then in a bit of funny news, I came across this. Apparently, the Russian military were up with researchers in the Antarctic in a couple different research vessels. They had some landing craft, which these are smaller boats. Because when I first read the article, I thought that one of their bigger tugs went down. They had these smaller landing craft. They were going ashore. They were around a bunch of walruses. And apparently a female walrus took exception to their watercraft and came over and sunk their landing boat and made everyone scramble, and they had to do a rescue and the whole nine. Now, the caption was, Walrus sinks Russian military ship. And that's why it caught my attention. So good job on the headline, because it made me look. That's one of the more ridiculous things I've ever heard. But it did happen. And, in fairness, a small landing craft, walruses are massive. So, yeah, that's not hugely surprising that if it wanted to, it'd come in and wreck one of their boats. But it's still funny. That's very embarrassing for all involved. It's just too bad we don't have video, because I bet that was really hilarious. They didn't say nothing about they killed the animal, so hopefully the walrus lived to fight another day, and nobody got hurt, so that's fine. That about wraps it up for this week. Saturday I'm going to be down visiting family, and so Will and I will be able to podcast together in person, which hasn't happened since August, or since last month. So that'll be nice. And we'll be talking about Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, and a bunch of other stuff that's been going on. But all right, guys. Till next time. We'll catch you later. I'm out of here.